Welcome into the 2-minute warning post-game show brought to you by the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. G. Bush, Earl Pro should be joining us any minute. I'm not quite sure where they're at, but they have the link. So whenever they are here, they will jump in. So for now, it is just me, guys. And let's get a read out of the way before we dive into some of the chaos that has been the Browns today. But the 2-minute warning post-game show is brought to you by FanDuel, as it always is. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. You can bet live on any game you want with their live betting, same-game parlays, and more. If you can think about betting on it, you can find a way to bet on it with FanDuel. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS to get in on the action. All right, guys, the Browns trail the Chicago Bears 31-3 right now. It has been an absolute butt kicking in every facet of the game. The Browns have been outcoached, outplayed, out special teams, out defense, you name it. It has been bad. What up, G. Bush?
What's up, man?
As soon as Earl gets in here, we'll hop in, but I don't know where he's at. G, it's been a horrific performance. And here's Earl right now, so let's get the 3-box cooking in a sec. But it's been a horrific performance by the Cleveland Browns. Every facet, the offense has been terrible. The defense has been terrible. The special teams has been terrible. The coaching's been terrible. The weather's been terrible. If you can name it, it's been terrible for the Browns. And, what are your thoughts real quick on the game thus far? Because it has been an absolute butt whooping for your Cleveland Browns.
First and foremost, I don't think Shedeur Sanders played a good game, so we can start that right now.
Okay.
I think he had there's 2 interceptions. He was fooled on one. Got the linebacker kind of baited him on it. That was a bad interception. And then I do think there was another interception when he threw the quarter round at the end of the game, where the ball floated and fluttered, and the defensive back was in the cover 2, lined up underneath it. So I don't think he played a really good game at all. I do think the other interception, there was one to Jerry Jeudy. He put the ball right on him.
Perfect throw.
Perfect throw. Dropped it dime right and hit him right in the face. Didn't. So, 3 interceptions. They're moving the ball a little bit, but that, I'm not counting none of that. But first and foremost, let's start with that. I do not think Shedeur Sanders played a very good game today. I think he had some ebbs and flows. I think he took a step back in some areas. However, I do think that like you said in your first thesis, was nasty work. The entire team started off with bad special teams again. With that defense up front got manhandled again. That's another attempt with that. So that's 2 weeks in a row, almost 3 weeks in a row. Defense hasn't showed up. I just thought this game was the Bears overall outplayed them, outcoached them, all the above, letter D.
Earl?
What up?
Brother?
I mean, I don't know, like coming to this game, offensive line was trash. Like we only had one starter coming into this game. So you kind of knew, like, from just coming into this game, it was going to be tough sledding overall. But, they was ill prepared. They just didn't look enthused. They didn't look like they was, like, ready to come out and compete in any facet of the game from the opening kickoff. Here it is, another opening kickoff, and the special team surrender a return of 40-plus yards, I think probably for, like, the 5th week in a row. And so that automatically cuts the starting field position down for the Chicago Bears. The defense do a good job of forcing a 3 and out. Our first offensive possession, you see what it looked like. The Bears special teams unit did a great job pinning us deep. You get the early penalty. I think it was 2 penalties early on in that drive. And it just set the tone for what would be a long day in a negative way. I think I echo everything G said. Shedeur Sanders did not play well. By far, this was worst of his 4 career starts. No question about it. 2 of their interceptions, I thought the defense did a great job of disguising what they did and forced him into some bad throws. And if you look at the Chicago Bears defense, that's pretty much how they've played all season. It's pretty much one of those feast or famine type defenses. They kind of rank really low when it comes to total yards against the pass, against the run, but they lead the league in turnovers forced. And so you've seen that there, the 3rd interception, or the 2nd of the 3 interceptions, he threw an absolute dime to Jerry Jeudy, and he dropped it. His name will remain unanimous, but somebody in our group chat said it'd be mighty funny if Shedeur Sanders went to the sideline and started cussing his ass out, like being all in his face. But I thought it was a tough day for Shedeur. Ebbs and flows, like G said. I thought it was some big plays from him. One thing that we have learned from Shedeur throughout just seeing him in 4 starts, he is going to take some shots downfield every single game, and I can appreciate that. You get 2 big shots downfield. I thought the scramble on 3rd down, he did a great job of feeling the pressure in the pocket. I thought that was a situation early to where Kevin Stefanski could have went for it and kind of like created a spark early on.
Should have went for it
on 49, but I would have went for it. You ain't got nothing to pretty much lose at this point. But he was under a lot of pressure. And, he stood in there, made some throws. I thought the one throw to Harold Fanning when he had the defensive tackle draped on him, it showed, like you've talked about, Mike, that underrated athleticism that people kind of forgot about through the entire draft process. The run game, non-existent yet again. For whatever reason, the Cleveland Browns just can't get it going. There was no type of extensions of the run game. I thought with all the pressure that Shedeur Sanders faced today, we seen the screen game a lot, Mike, last couple of weeks. That really was not there this week. Lot of targets to Harold Fanning. So, we see what that was. The defense, bad again today against the run. Just bad overall in the first half. I thought that they were not up to the task early on in the game. Shout out to Caleb Williams. Shout out to Ben Johnson. I thought the offense had a solid game plan. I tweeted out early in the game. It seemed like every single thing that they wanted to do, they were doing with no questions asked. Me and you both tweeted out at one point they had 12 total first downs. Browns had 9 total plays ran in the game. So it was just a tough day around the board, and I get it. The offensive line is what it is, man. And it's one of those situations to where what's going on, but it just seemed like the energy wasn't there. It just seemed like they was flat. It just seemed like they was not enthused with coming out to play this game, right? Like just the penalties, the continued special teams mishaps. Now the defense is starting to fold as we get down the stretch. It was a bad day for Browns fans. That's for damn sure.
We'll get to Shedeur in a sec because I agree with you. I didn't think he played well today, but this is a bigger picture than the quarterback right now. We've had many conversations throughout the season about the Browns either being ill-prepared, not playing up to the standard at which we expect them to play, even for a subpar team, not playing up to a certain standard, not being ready, questionable in-game decisions. And we keep coming back to the same thesis and conclusion. And I think all three of us are in agreement that just the Kevin Stefanski era has to end immediately. I haven't seen a Browns game, maybe in the entirety of the UCSS show history, that has screened more 1-2-3 Cancun than this. They looked unenthused. Their quarterback had the wrong wristband. They start the game giving up a 50-yard kick return and then another punt return. They had 12 men on offense on a play, We see 12 men on defense all the time. I can't remember a time I've ever heard 12 men in an offense get actually called. Sometimes you see it happen, and then the quarterback says, no, get out. We got 12 guys. It's a comedy of errors. And I don't think it's fair to point it all at one person because I think a lot of people are at fault here. But if this wasn't the final straw in Jimmy Haslam's decision, if he hadn't already made up his mind, and I hope he had, but if he hadn't already, I don't know how you watch what we just watched for 3 hours and 7 minutes and have any faith in bringing this back in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was a disgrace to the game of football, their unpreparedness for this game. A legitimate disgrace, considering the fact that despite the bad weather, Chicago's offense looked fine, right? Caleb Williams was able to throw the ball pretty well. They were able to run the ball. They were able to block. The Browns, are playing down a bunch of offensive linemen. They're not a super talented offense to begin with, but that's an atrocity. 3 points against a middle of the pack at best defense that does a good job forcing turnovers, but frankly can't stop anybody. They have no run game because the offensive line can't stop Quinshon Judkins from getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. They can't. Did he get through the line of scrimmage once there without getting hit? I honest to God don't think so.
No.
Shedeur made some throws. We'll get to Shedeur in a sec, but he didn't play well today. And it's just an overall tragedy of errors. And I cannot wait for this season to end because I cannot wait to get myself off of this addiction that we have to watching Kevin Stefanski football teams. I can't do it anymore. I'm at my wit's end, guys. I'm at my wit's end.
So first of all, I didn't pick the Browns to win this game. I don't think you picked the Browns to win this game.
Bull was the only one who did.
You look at what happened, and this is a microcosm of everything. They come out, remember, he has the wrong wristband or his head communication doesn't work. And Kevin Stefanski sends him back in the game. And I'm counting down on the live stream, 10, 9, 8. It's a game where it's cold outside. You're already down 7-0. You need to at least get a first down or something to kind of warm yourself into this football game. And Kevin Stefanski doesn't call timeout. He lets him take a 5-yard penalty, and it's 1st and 15 now. And it's like, he doesn't, and this is again, I mean, I don't know if you're checked out. We can go back to the 49ers game. Hey, you're running in, something's wrong. Call timeout. It's the first quarter. You don't get extra points for taking that in with you. It's 1st and 15. You end up leaving, putting the ball back to them. You're down 14-0. And it's one of those things where, not only that, but let me just talk about the cohesiveness. As I was yelling and screaming at my screen in terms of the offensive play calling, Ben Johnson, what his offense looks like. It's a master class. You go back to the Patriots game. They're setting up the tight end. Oh, it's play action on this play. Oh, we got crossing routes. We making you look every which way but loose. And the thing that they can do is they just got into 2 tight end sets and rammed the ball down your throat, running up good old power play. Yep. It wasn't nothing. They got after you. They put a helmet and a hat on the hat, and they got the ball running, and it looked like they knew who they were blocking. The Browns offensively, in terms of their run game, Earl, let me just throw this out here. And we could, at one point in the fourth quarter, the Browns, this was in the fourth quarter, they had 11 carries for 27 yards. 11. Your top rusher was Quinshot Judkins with 9 carries for 16 yards. Shedeur Sanders had 1 carry for 9 yards. If you take the 9-yard quarterback scramble out, you had 10 carries for 18 yards.
Well, G, he was the leading rusher again for the second week in a row. His 24 yards rushing from Shedeur Sanders led the Cleveland Browns for the second week in a row. The Browns averaged 3.1 yards a carry. Like, again, this is a team that was 27th against the run. And so we know, again, the offensive line is bad. We get all that, but I think everybody came into this game understanding the elements, the weather, things like this, man. You got to eventually, you got to get Shedeur a run game. You got to give this offense a chance while giving some type of resemblance of a run game. And if you can't really do power run, if you can't get to the edge, then do some screens. You got to have some type of creativity. And that's where, the frustration comes in as a Browns fan, right? Because you go through this week, and, we make the graphics and we know what's what. So, of course, they know what's what. And when you're going through the week and you're putting together your game plan and just, how you're going to execute the play and things like that, it just seemed like, man, we always the team that's coming up short. You talk about the sophistication of Ben Johnson's offense and just, how fluid it is. And, they do the basic things well and they open up the other things. At the end of the day, we know he comes with a great system. But the reality is, they are only 14 games into his tenure learning that system. And yet here we are 6 years into a Kevin Stefanski offensive-minded coach-led system, and it just looks so stale, lethargic, etc., right? Overall, though, this team coming out being ill-prepared, like what Mike said, man, the weather didn't really seem to face the Chicago Bears at all. They was game. They was ready to go. It just seemed like, man, today was just blah from the start, from the absolute start. Real quick, what did y'all think about that challenge when he threw the challenge flag when we took the field for the first time? Did you think that was when
I think he was trying to help out an offense that struggles enough as it is to not start on the 1-yard line? It just makes no sense that he would challenge that and then not go for it on 4th and inches after that 9-yard scramble by Shedeur. It's just the inconsistency is what kills me with him. I didn't mind the challenge. But I tweeted out, you go for it there. What do you have to lose? You're 3-10. What do you have to lose at this point? The answer is nothing, right? There's nothing. If you're trying to evaluate as an organization, if you're trying to evaluate what you have in this quarterback, what you have in some of the players on this offensive line for next year. And by the way, the offensive line sucked today. We don't have to preface everything we say for the rest of the show. We all know the offensive line was abysmal. Maybe one of the worst offensive lines ever assembled for a starting NFL game. Seriously,
I've ever seen.
It was that bad. We're all under the same premise. We all know. I just don't understand the inconsistency of some of the decisions he makes. I'm just over it. I don't know how else to say it. I've been over it for a while. This was nothing new to me. It just, hopefully for the people who are on the fence or were on the fence about this, they get some mental and much needed clarity that this is just not the guy. Kevin Stefanski might end up being a good coach somewhere else, but sometimes your voice runs dry in a locker room and change is needed. I can't look at an organization around football, around any sport right now and say they need a change more than the Cleveland Browns. I feel like the Browns are at literally the top of that list of franchises that need a head coaching change.
I just don't. I look at it, and I know a lot of people, a lot of what we talk about, and a lot of guys, they boil it down to the quarterback, and that's just what life is now because of the quarterback position and how it's marketed so much. But the Cleveland Browns, man, I mean, they are a. This is a case study of what it looks like when you're outgunned, you're outmanned, you're out-schemed, and you don't even have help coming. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm looking at it, and we go back and we take a look at it from week to week, and we talk about some of the PFF grades. Do you know your starting line? No one on PFF versus the Titans, as far as there's run block grades, no one had over 50. Nobody. Your lowest one was a 39%. You got to understand something. You can have Montana Elway. I don't care if you got the second coming of Michael Vick with the reincarnated soul of Randall Cunningham. If you can't run the football and when you have those linemen and you're talking about quarterbacks, and by the way, was there a sighting? Or did Cedric Tillman go out? Is he hurt? What?
I think he's hurt. I believe he's hurt. There's no way he played today. There's no way he played today.
I didn't even see his name.
He was out there. I seen him out there once. I seen him out there once or twice.
I'll pull up the box score real quick.
You have that.
You ain't gonna find him in the box score. He was on the screen.
You got that O-line and that receiving core. And we're talking about packaging picks for another quarterback so he can come in here and do the same thing next year. It's wild work. We talk about packaging. We talk about this is malpractice, man. We don't have nobody under. We don't have nobody. Hey, listen, and no disrespect, Joe. Joe, you got to go. You had a great career, my guy. Joe Bitonio is not a starting level tackle or guard. He has to go. I'm sorry, it's not starting level. Listen, I'm sorry, but it's time. We got to figure something out up front. And the scary thing too. Can we get to this? Hey, Mason Graham, let me tell you something. Let me talk to you real quick, Mason. If you can only play when Malik Collins is taking up these double teams and you running around, I done seen 3 weeks in a row. They go right at you, son. Mike Hall Jr., I know I'm going to let you come back. You was a little injured, but this run, the way the Bears ran the ball today, I hope that you all checked out. This cannot be what it is because we can't win no game. I mean, everybody's getting downhill on us right now. The Titans too.
Yeah. The Bears running game is really good. The Titans was literally the worst in the NFL. And this is back-to-back weeks where the Browns were not only getting run on first and second down, but on third and medium. Chicago and Tennessee both had no issue running the football.
At all.
Now, usually, we've come here, and I am guilty of this just as like you guys are. 3rd and 7, Stefanski calls a draw, and we'd be like, what the – like a draw, really? I don't like those play calls. Against the Browns right now, it's probably the best and most efficient third and medium conversion kind of play you could call because they couldn't stop the run if their life depended on it at the moment. Myles Garrett, by the way, did get a sack and a half. He's up to 21.5 sacks, 1 full sack away from tying the record, a sack and a half from setting the record. I would say he played well on defense. I'm not sure you could say anyone else particularly did. Schlesinger, relatively quiet for what we expect. Campbell, Denzel, Delpit, I can't remember a play any of those guys in particular made.
Denzel wasn't out there. Man, you missed his presence.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I don't remember Denzel.
Harden, listen.
Harden, yeah.
James, listen, you was worse than James Harden on defense, and you play corner.
And that throw Caleb Williams throw, like that one of those hell no across the body throws he threw in the back of the end zone, bro. When they completed that pass, I said, wow.
Listen, that's when you unplug the game from Madden. You unplug the Madden, you say, I gotta go. That's a rage quit right there. I said
the DeAndre Swift second touchdown when he ran for 17 yards, broke 30 million tackles along the way. It was just crazy, man. They averaged 4.3 yards a carry on 142 yards rushing. And they did it very similar fashion to what the Tennessee Titans did last week, right? They set their edge, they get out there on the perimeter, and they're able to be creative. And, they invested this offseason in the interior of their offensive line. You see a lot of the same blocking schemes. You see a lot of what was done in Detroit. And quite frankly, when he was in Miami 10 years ago, the same thing there with the running game that they had back then. So this is something that Ben Johnson likes to do. He, regardless of like the passing yards and all the points scored, he likes to set the tone running the football. And he has so many different versions of the run game that he can go to get creative with. We can't do that. And it's just frustrating because, again, I hate to be saying the same stuff over and over. I get it. The offensive line was beat up. You only had one starter in there, but like, man, you got to figure out a way to be able to run the football effectively. Like, just figure it out, man.
I knew it was the reason I got on the Kevin Stefanski got to go train started when I started doing film reviews, and I started to realize that the offensive linemen don't know who to block in the run game. And I said, I was watching the film and I was asking, I said, Tyvis, why is this linebacker coming free? Like, they're not even getting to the second level. And then I realized they don't know who to block. Even the starters don't know who to block. Every single time Quinshon Judkins gets the football, right, you can count how many times he gets hit in the backfield. There was a guy free. That is a fireable offense because the foundation and principles of what the offense is broken at that level. Like it's like McNuggets in basketball. Like if you can't get to your second option off a set and you can't run any sets, you're done. Like, all we got to do is stop the first little wave of emotion and then it's over. Like in the Browns, you talked about it, and I'll tell you this, Earl, you're correct. When you watch these other teams, they're multiple in the run game. They can run off tackle, they can run power, they can run stretch, they can run dive, they can run zone, inside zone, outside zone. They do all of these things, right? And the Cleveland Browns look like they hand the ball off to the middle and wait for Judkins to get hit in the backfield. That's the extent of it.
Just think about what we've been talking about the last couple of years, though, right? G, you just brought up a point that it looks like to you, based off the film that you watched, that don't nobody know who to block. And that right there goes to a lack of study, a lack of discipline, but also a lack of fear from the entire offensive line group. Because when Bill Callahan was here, man, wasn't none of that going on. Like, you knew it was consequences for missing block assignments. You knew it was consequences for not doing what the hell that you're supposed to do. How many times have we heard stories from offensive linemen on this team about how much easier it is throughout the week since Bill Callahan left this team, right? There's no like sense of, you know how like when you know, like, you bet not get a phone call home from school. You know what I'm saying? Like that sense of fear, that tone set, it's already there that, you know what, no matter what happened this school day, man, that teacher bet not call home
from you.
And there's no sense of urgency there with this Cleveland Browns offensive line. And it's been exposed ever since Bill Callahan left. It's the missed blocking assignments. It's the lack of like just energy that comes with the things that we know that they used to be capable of. And I know what you're saying about Joel Bitonio. Yeah, he got to go. And Joel ain't been great. But, bro, like, imagine how bad it'd be if he didn't do us a favor by not even retiring last year. Joel probably can't wait for this season to end to get the hell off this football team.
Because Zach Zenner can't even get off the bench. And how he get hurt? How is he on the injury list?
No, I mean, listen, that's another catastrophic miss by Andrew Berry. I know this year's draft class by Berry is good. He may have all misses in his 2024 draft class. Mike Hall is still an unknown. Everybody else he drafted in that class has been a giant thumbs down, can barely get on the field. We've been going 25 minutes, guys. Let's dive into a little more of the Shedeur stuff. You guys mentioned a little stop. He didn't play well, but let's start with the good. Couple really nice deep throws to Bond. For whatever reason, Bond was non-existent in this offense before Shedeur. Shedeur and him have found some nice connections, and he's fast. Like, I'm not sure how good he is, but the dude is certainly fast. He had the one throw where the linebacker was literally tackling him as he released the football and hit Bond 42 yards down the field. His throw to Judy that ended as an interception may have been his best throw of the entire game, maybe his best throw of the season, and it's a catastrophe that ends up in Chicago's possession as opposed to it being a touchdown for the Browns. Jerry Jeudy, another subpar, invisible performance from your alleged wide receiver one. So there was some good. I thought his pocket presence is getting better, but I only took 5 sacks today. But I actually think he's doing a pretty good job navigating, moving around in the pocket. He missed some throws that he hadn't missed in the last couple of games. G, I'm curious. It felt like on a couple of swing passes, he ended up firing behind Judkins on a couple of those. I'm not sure if that's technique, timing, but that was something I marked down as it wasn't a one-time thing. I think it happened 3 times if my tracking's right, and I'm not saying it is. I missed a bunch of these, so it definitely happened twice. I think it happened 3 times. But it just seemed like a lot of the disguises and coverage that Chicago was throwing at Cleveland really messed him up. And that wasn't something that happened against Tennessee. And it may be because Tennessee plays a more vanilla defense, maybe because Chicago has better playmakers in the secondary. Could be a lot of different reasons, but I was hoping we continue to see a linear progression in that regard for Shedeur. And I thought he took a step back, ended up with 3 picks. 1 is not his fault at all. The other 2 he got baited into, and he's got to clean those up. But I did not think Shedeur played particularly well today.
No, I didn't think he played well. I think when you evaluate Shedeur Sanders, I think the evaluation goes to this. And what the Cleveland Browns you need to do is say, is there enough raw talent, raw individual skill that we can mold and shape and put some guys around to be successful? Shedeur Sanders in his rookie year after 4 starts is not good enough to elevate the Cleveland Browns and some of the stuff they're doing. He's not good enough to diminish. And very few rookies are able to do that, to cover up bad offensive line play, receiver play, and this and that and the third. But there are some good things to glean from this game in terms of his tape, but there are also some bad things. So you start with the positive. I think he's shown you that he throws a tremendous catchable deep ball. That's one of his best assets. He had one to Isaiah Bond. I think Isaiah Bond could have had 3, but kind of lost where the ball was a little bit on one of the throws. I think that he had two plays that to Isaiah Bond that were great. The play I think he threw it to Harold Fannin Jr. where he had enough strength to get the ball out there. Yeah. I thought that was a really good play. I do think some of the poor things I saw today, he was not as accurate as he should have been on some of the swing passes. There were a couple passes on some crossing routes or slants where it looked like the ball was behind the receivers. So I didn't think he had good enough accuracy under the 10-yard gauge where we like to say you got to have those throws. I think there's 3 or 4 passes that were a little off target when it comes to that. And then you had the 2 interceptions, the 2 bad interceptions. One interception, he was straight up fooled. They were running play action, and the linebacker sat on it. He wasn't playing the run at all. He did a good job of tipping the ball, catching it, making that interception. And then the last interception was a corner route. It looked like Harold Fannin was there, but I think actually a good thrown ball in terms of not getting caught up in the wind and cutting the ball. I think if he throws it with more anticipation, Harold Fannin actually has a chance to catch that because he was open.
Just a hair late on that, G. Just a hair late on it. Yep. And the DB did a really good play to pick it off too.
He did a good job of selling it. And then he got underneath that route the corner did on that cover 2 play. But I think the ball got caught in the wind, and he was a half second late. And if you're not going to have a rocket and you're going to put no oomph on it, you can't be late and the ball can't sail on you. So I thought them was the 2 plays right there. I do think he did a little better job of moving in the pocket a little bit and eluding some of the rush. But yeah, overall, not a good game for Shedeur Sanders. I thought there was some couple of steps back in terms of that, but there were some things, good things downfield, which is encouraging.
Yeah, I marked down a lot of the things that I saw that was positive. Pocket presence, poise. I thought that he was able to stare down the pressure of the Chicago Bears defense while staying in the pocket and keeping his eyes downfield when the pressure was coming. I know at one point I looked at it, he was under pressure, 15 dropbacks. He had been hit 7 times, took it a couple of sacks there. Being able to field a blitz, right? And I think for a young quarterback, as you start to put together these starts, that's where you can't really get that in film study and practice time. You kind of got to be in a game in those real situations to be able to feel the pressure and move. We talked about this during preseason, but I don't know why, for whatever reason, his athleticism was so underrated. And you talk about the strength. I go back to that throw that he completed to Harold Fannin. The defensive tackle is draped all over him. He got one arm on a defensive tackle, and the pocket is collapsed, and he's just looking. The ball is hanging out of one hand. So that's hand strength. That's lower body strength. You're able to deliver a dime to Harold Fannin Jr., and he get it out there. The throw to Jerry Jeudy, I too agree that was the best throw of the day. And what's even more impressive about that is you threw that against Jalen Johnson. And for everybody that's familiar with, like, who love the game of football, man, Jalen Johnson is one of the best cornerbacks in the entire NFL. So to have the confidence in your arm and to have the confidence in your wide receiver to make that throw, like, that's a hell of a job for you, even though your wide receiver let you down. When you go to the 2 interceptions that was his fault, I always think back to the Raiders game, because on both of those interceptions, not saying that the defensive call was exactly the same, but the disguise was exactly the same. The Raiders did it with a defensive end who looked like he was about to rush. He kind of dropped back into coverage at the last second and took away something that Shedeur thought was there that wasn't there. You fast forward to this game, the very first interception, the linebacker made a hell of a play. He stunned it like he was about to blitz. He dropped back, tipped the ball, was able to catch his own deflection. And then the second one he threw to Harold Fanning, I thought it was a kind of similar type situation there. So Shedeur has put that on film, and that's something that clearly he has to work on, and I think that he will. I think if you want to look at the silver lining and find any positives out of it, if you look at the Browns' schedule for the rest of the year, in my opinion, you are not going to find a better collective secondary that the Cleveland Browns are going to face for the remainder of this season. And this is a secondary that forces a lot of turnovers. And so you get to take this film, you get to go back in the lab and really dissect it and work on some things that, didn't go so well for you this week that went well last week. So it should be an interesting challenge for him that I believe he's up to.
Chicago now has 30 takeaways this season, guys, which they led the NFL with 27 entering this week. It was 8 more than any other team in football. They added 3 more. They do a better job taking the football away from the opposing offense than any team in the NFL, and the Browns fell victim to that today. As far as looking forward for the Browns, I know a lot of people are complaining about the offensive line and the weapons and all that. Just the FYI, that's not changing the next 3 weeks. Like, he's going to be playing behind essentially the same offensive line against Buffalo next week, the same offensive line against Pittsburgh in 2 weeks, the same offensive line, the same group of weapons, the same play caller, the same head coach for the next couple of weeks. So that is not going to change. And it's just the reality. I'm not saying that in a good or bad. I'm just saying that's the reality that we're living in and that Shedeur is living in. And the Browns are going to have to make an evaluation on Shedeur and some of these young guys based on those circumstances over the next 3 weeks. Is it fair? No, but sports ain't fair. G, you've told us that a million times. I did have a legit football question, G. As Earl mentioned, it may be something on tape that dropping guys into coverage is something Shedeur is still kind of learning how to recognize earlier in the process. Does that come with real game reps? Is that something you can, like, how does a young quarterback improve in that area and maybe sniffing out some of these coverage disguises? Is that something that's the offensive coordinator, the head coach, and them sitting down watching film together? What does that process look like?
Well, I said it on the I did when we were doing the watch party. I said, as a coordinator, what I like to have is multiple answers to the test. I want to have an A, B, C, and D to choose from. I would like a deep route option. I like a medium route option. I like a short, quick, something that I can get to. I also like an option and availability out of the backfield. And then I like the third option. If all else fails, you make a play on yourself.
This dude think he had Wingstop. Like, he just order 4 or 5 flavors at once. Listen to him.
But don't be at Wingstop trying to get. Don't say I want 4 Asian zing. Give me 3 mild, 2 hot. No. It's orders of 6. We ain't doing that. So, but no. Here's what you want. And sometimes when you're running that play action stuff, sometimes the downs and distance denotes that, right? Somebody asked, why don't they run play action on first down? I said, why would they abide by play action on first down when the run game isn't working? So the linebacker on that play, he was like, yeah, it's play action. Now he wants the linebackers to bite, but he did a good job of he gave him that rope-a-dope. He looked like, oh, I bid on this so tough. Quinshon Judkins might get this psych. I'm right back in his passing lane because you're not worried about that. You can rally to that and tackle that. A lot of what getting confused is trying to have a timing in your head and a mechanism to say, well, I'm anticipating that this linebacker is going to drop and I got Harold Fanning Jr. over the middle. That anticipation can't come like that if you ain't been running the football. So sometimes as a young player, you want to get the ball out of your hand. You want to hit your primary target. And sometimes it takes experience to understand, okay, if that's not there, I need to look quickly to my secondary target on play action. But when it's 3 steps, that ball got to come out some way. So the answer to the test got to come quicker. So to me, it's a combination of both. It's anticipation, it's the play call scheme, but at the same time is understanding where your answers are at. And if the first read isn't there, where do I need to go for the secondary read? Maybe it ain't Harold Fan, and maybe it's quick to the flats. But it takes time to get to those things, and it takes, just learning the game to understand where that's coming from.
Interesting perspective. I'd never really, as someone who played football for 1 year in my life, never had to do a film study and kind of learn the progressions of that.
He was a lineman, right?
Yeah, that's why I hate it.
He was elite for 1 year.
Listen, if Phillip Rivers can go play quarterback at 44, you can go play offensive line after not doing it for the last, 27 years of your life.
I blocked for Noshawn Moreno. So you may say Noshawn would not turn into Noshawn if it wasn't for my horrific blocking and him having to evade 4 people in the backfield before anyone could get to him. So
you had an elite team.
And Donald Brown, the Colts first-round pick running back.
That's crazy.
Was our backfield, yeah. And then they had little 42-pound me getting pancaked every freaking play blocking for him. So
that's insane.
Give them all the credit. Overall, the Browns suck. Like, they just suck.
How far away? Can I ask y'all a question?
Yeah.
So,
how far away are we?
How far away are we?
From like a super
like you know how you be in a car and you ask your mom, are we there yet?
I mean, is this one of those situations? Can you walk to your friend's house? Do you gotta catch the bus? Do you need a ride because it's across town?
Because
how far are we?
I want to give it I just want to kind of give it, because I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, okay, I mean, are we? How many years are we from literally being a legitimate playoff contender?
All right, so playoff contention.
Earl, you go first on this one, Earl.
If I'm trying to take like all the emotion out of it and just look at it for what it is, maybe 3 seasons, 2 seasons, 3 seasons max. And I say that because when you peel the layers of the situation back, right, this draft class, in my opinion, is phenomenal, right? I think that there is something to evaluate long-term as Shedeur Sanders. I said on the radio yesterday, Keith made it a clip. 7 games might not be enough, but 24 is. So that's pretty much where I stand on that. So I think that there's some promise there. You got Quinshawn Judkins, you got a young Dylan Sampson, you got Harold Fanning Jr. there. You need some wide receivers. I personally think Jerry Jeudy is better if he's in the slot and you get some better wide receivers to go around him. I think that will help exploit his game. I'm not even sure if he's a number 2 wide receiver. I think that his skill set might be better suited for the slot. You got something there in Isaiah Bond. Clearly, the dude got some wheels, like Tyreek Hill type wheels, and he's a legit deep threat. You got Myles Garrett on the defensive side of the ball. You got Mason Graham. You just re-signed Alex Wright. You got Carson Schwarzenegger. Denzel Ward is still in his prime. Don't laugh at me, audience, but I do think my man MJ Emerson is going to come back. I think he's going to get a contract, and I think he's going to be able to redeem himself. Then you got these draft picks, and you got to make sure that you continue to build out this roster. We need offensive linemen. We need wide receivers. We could probably use another DB. We could probably use another edge rusher, to be quite honest with you. And so, building out a football team, it ain't like us 3 turning on Madden and we can just do this overnight. It takes time, and it's a process to really go through this situation. So if they can continue to hit on a draft class like they did this year and build on some of those positive things, I know those positivities are like few far in between, but if you can just continue to like build off of that, you might be able to turn this into a playoff team, by the time we get to the 2027 season.
So the answer to your question is, G, it all depends on if Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback or if they draft a quarterback and turns into somebody really good. Because if you don't have a quarterback, it's going to take another 10 years. It's taking, 30 years for the Browns to get any level of – they still haven't found it. I mean, they had Baker for a little bit. If you don't have the quarterback, it's going to take forever. If, let's say, for the sake of this, Shedeur is that guy, right? Let's just, for the sake of this, say it is. You're probably 2 years away. I don't think you can fix everything and all the holes in one offseason here. Barry just hit on a draft class. We've talked about it at length. They filled running back position. They filled a linebacker. They filled a defensive tackle. Filled a quarterback for the sake of this argument, tight end. They still have, that's five players, right? You still got a whole offensive line they got to refill. You still got to replenish the weapons. You have a new head coach that's coming in, and you can see what happens with a new head coach, like at Mike Vrabel in New England. We see it every year. A new head coach can reinvigorate some players who may have kind of fallen off a bit. But this roster, just top to bottom, severely lacks talent. It does. And even with that one good draft class, you go back to the 2023 and 2024 draft classes. Guys, the reality is, in back-to-back draft classes, 23 and 24, Barry might not have a single hit. In 23, I'm gonna give you a name. You tell me hit or not, okay?
Yeah, run them numbers.
This is the 23 draft class. Tillman.
Heck no.
Siaki Ika.
Not even on the squad.
DeJuan Jones.
Who?
DeJuan Jones just can't stay healthy.
Not Mike.
But can't stay healthy.
It was the playoff words. It was the playoff words, Mike.
No, Mike Jones. I'm well aware.
Who?
Mike Jones. Who? Isaiah
Jones.
McGuire.
Okay.
DTR. Gone. Cam Mitchell. Gone. Luke Whippler did nothing today.
Oh, it's looking nasty today.
So that's the whole 2023 draft class, by the way. So you have nothing
Zero.
to show from 2023.
Put the fist up, and this ain't Black Power.
2024, you ready? Because it gets worse, guys. It gets worse. Mike Hall, still a question mark, but through 2 seasons has not looked like a second-round pick when he's played. Zach Zinter can't dress. They just waived Jamari Thrash. Nathaniel Watson doesn't dress. Miles Harden got burnt like toast today. And they drafted Juwan Briggs, who then they traded to the New York Jets, and Juwan Briggs actually playing pretty well. So the best guy they drafted in the last 2 years, they traded. So in the entirety of the 2023 and 2024 draft classes, they have 0 hits. Now his 2025 draft is awesome. But over the last 3 years, you have 2 drafts with 0 hits.
I like Earl, and I like what Barry did this year, but I like the fact that you brought me some receipts for them last 2 years. Them is nasty.
But remember, I'm crazy because I want to fired.
So
what year?
That kind of.
Hold on. Can we go to 20? Do we have any 2022 stuff?
I mean, if MJ Emerson was a part of that class, that's a dub anyway. So it don't even matter
22. Remember, they didn't have a pick to the 3rd round, so that does play a little bit. But in the 3rd round, they took Emerson and Alex Wright. Those are 2 good 3rd-round picks.
Okay.
Damn right it is.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the rest of this?
Okay.
David Bell?
No.
Perrion Winfrey?
No.
Cade York?
No.
Jerome Ford? Mike Woods? Sorry, Earl. Isaiah Thomas? Dawson Deaton? So in 3 years, in 3 drafts, 22, 23, 24, those 3 years combined, your 2 best players out of that were Alex Wright and Martin Emerson.
Hey, Mike, want to hear something funny about that?
Shoot.
People be sending me nasty DMs talking about, man, if it was any other 5th-round pick, you wouldn't be cheering that hard for him. I'm like, man, y'all don't know me, man. Like, I was champion for Mike Woods to make this team.
What year? So okay. This is looking bad, Andrew. AB. Can we go to 2021? Did you
hold on, wait. Before y'all move on, man, like MJ don't make up for a good portion of that, though?
Oh, no.
It's great as
some haters, man.
All right, 21, G. Greg Newsome, 1st-round pick. It's okay. It's okay. JOK in the 2nd round, good pick.
Okay.
Anthony Schwartz in the 3rd. James Hudson in the 4th. Tommy Togiai in the 4th.
And he's balling for the Texans, by the way.
Who?
Tommy Togiai balling for the Texans.
Togi's balling. Yeah, he's balling out for the Texans. Tony Fields and Richard LeCount in the 5th, and Demetric Felton in the 6th.
Nasty work again.
And if you want to go all the way back to 2020, he took Jed Wills in the 1st, Delpit in the 2nd. Good pick. Jordan Elliott in the 3rd, Jacob Phillips, Harrison Bryant, Nick Harris, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. So in his first 5 drafts before this year, Andrew Berry has been an absolutely horrific drafter. It is what it is. He had a good 2025 draft, but this team is so far removed away from having enough talent to truly compete, G. Why? Because you traded for Deshaun Watson and gave up 3 high-round picks, and then everyone you took in the later rounds over the next 4 years up until this 2025 draft has stunk. So to think it's going to all be fixed in one draft class is just unrealistic. It is. I'm sorry. It's the reality of the situation. People have
Who do y'all think his best free agent signing was?
Malik Collins.
Myles Garrett.
That's such a damn cop out of you know it though.
Miles was re-signed. He wasn't a free agent. Yeah,
he had to. So his best free agent signing,
Malik Collins.
Is Malik Collins, and his best trade was Amari Cooper.
What's his worst free agent signing?
John Johnson.
I was gonna say the John Johnson, Troy Hill.
Nah, it's Juan Thornhill.
Thornhill. Well, they gave more money to Johnson, but yeah,
Thornhill or John, and that was 2 back-to-back. And what about the dude? What about the defensive back that he got with John Johnson from the Rams that they traded in a week?
Troy Hill. That's what
Troy Hill. Yeah, that's a nasty one too.
Yeah. You guys ready to do some super chats?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do this. Get up out of here.
All right,
we appreciate y'all joining us
today by Aura Frames, guys. If you haven't gotten Christmas presents, check out Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every single time. It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when you plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure it out. No setup headaches, just instant smiles. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura Frames' best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and the frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Show this show your support by mentioning at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, guys, it's crazy. We had 140 super chats. We have 30 this week. So,
we good then.
We can
elaborate. Just to pour salt into the Sunday wound, we down by 10 points at halftime to the Charlotte Hornets, bro.
With no LaMelo, no Colin Sexton.
Evan
Mobley's out for 4 weeks, by the way.
And by the way, and when you got a calf injury and it's 4 weeks, that's a season injury. Yeah, my bad. That's a whole year. But that's a whole year.
As soon as we hang up, I'm going over there. So I'll get some information. Nicole Marie says, I dare the Browns to keep Kevin and draft a quarterback. They'll be in the same position again next year. Steve the Plumber says, fire Kevin and Andrew. This is embarrassing. Dust Hunter says, Sanders is garbage. I hope you build around him. Steve the Plumber says, call the retiree list for players and coaches. Nate Godwin says, you can't blame Stefanski when Shedeur plays bad, but then give Stefanski 0 credit when he plays good. Life doesn't work like that. Soup Loop says, the Browns roster sucks, but the hope for 12 was to elevate the team. Like it or not, he was the worst player on the field. Aaron Zoric says, make your list of top 5 coaching hopefuls. You're getting number 9. Same for the GM. Scotty says, Mendoza is not the answer. We need linemen and receivers. Hunter Brown says, whose fault is it going to be when Kevin gets fired? Sweetie T says, it's 12's fault. He needs to do better at blocking for himself, running the ball, catching his own passes, calling his own plays. I say get Mendoza, see if he can do those things. Soup Loop says, the roster sucked when Gabriel was starting too. Where was the grace for the quarterback then?
That's a hell of a handle name, by the way.
Soup Sloop.
I think, how many games did Gabriel play?
6?
7?
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, don't forget the half because we're gonna put the half with Shedeur too. So we got to get him that half. They split the baby on the Baltimore game.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Cars and Tech says, would you tell the incoming head coach to keep Schwartz and whoever on his staff he deems good if you got rid of Kevin?
I got a couple names. I'll tell you in private, Mike. I got a couple names.
By the way, this is gonna be for us. Why don't it never stop with us? It's gonna be quarterback talk, it's coach talk, it's GM talk, and then it's back to draft talk. Like this, don't stop.
No, it's the Browns, man. It's the Browns. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Dawn Hall says build around the quarterback. Hopefully, no few is quarterback in 26. Jeffrey Park says build around the Shedeur Sanders. Drafting a quarterback just to be put in the same situation is crazy. Invest in receivers and offensive line this offseason. Release the Files says Shedeur is worth developing. He has elite accuracy and the right personality traits. Beef up the O-line and get a real threat at receiver. Evans, McLaurin, Tate, possibly. Rayshawn Richardson says Mo Harden looks like Buster Screen all game. That's a throwback name.
That's a crazy name, Buster Screen. And we thought he was that deal. We be amping up dudes that be Minimowski. We amp them up so to Buster Screen.
Yeah,
Well, we got Buster Screen on the other corner, opposite of Joe Hayden. Stop.
Teflon Don says 12 is cheeks. First team reps. LOL. INT machine. Renee Sand says the Browns are a bad football team. A million ways to win. 12 had a bad game. That's okay. Let's see what he does next week. Carrie Schmiel says tired of these bad years. LaRon DD3 says make Jim the head coach, Eric Bieniemy to be the assistant head coach and offensive play caller. Renee Sand says, why do so many people want Shedeur to fail? It's weird. Karma has a way. Laddie Lady says Delpit needs to gain weight, and I'm not convinced that Tyson doesn't fall down on purpose when he thinks he's already been beat by his opponent. Lindsay Wade says, what I like about Shedeur is that he's a fighter. I want to see the Browns become more of a fighting team too. Miss Bell says Shedeur's 4 games, 4 reps with the ones. He's going to get it. Bianca says Browns are one-dimensional, have no run game. Everett Shaw says, gee, stop focusing on the quarterback position. You sound like a double agent. Drafting a rookie quarterback won't fix this. Cleveland Browns, please trade Shedeur. Miss Bell says a new quarterback, same coach, and offensive line should be illegal. Newstick says such an expected legendary performance. Darren Knoll says, do you believe Mendoza is better than 12? It doesn't matter what we believe. It's what the Browns think. Nate Godwin says 3 points, 3 picks, legendary. Jab 9237 says Fort start. Nothing Shedeur could do. Bears, better weapons. Outplayed the Browns. Could have played better, but not much. Hit on most throws. Nowhere to go with the ball. Meshikoff Baltimore says, check y'all chat. The amount of 12 haters in here is why it seems like 12 fans are OD. They hide when they shine, pop out when he has a bad game. They're lame. And lastly, Sweetie T says Sanders is the leading rusher in 2 games, and no one is saying we need a new running back.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Hey,
No.
we ain't doing that to quit shine. That's what we not gonna do. Like,
A lot of
shine ain't did nothing to nobody, man. But
you know what
give his best damn effort week in and week out since he been out there, man. That offensive line is horrific. It's terrible. Pathetic.
What y'all gotta realize, a lot of people don't be like, they're not into just watching like the minute areas of football. They're gonna pull up to see who did what at quarterback, if the team won or lost, and if the coach made some errors. If they do, those are the top 3 topics. The minutia and stuff come during the week. So yeah, come on. We got a lot of stuff to do. Shedeur didn't play well today, but then again, the Cleveland Browns as a whole didn't play very well. And there's going to be some changes at the end of the season. So stay tuned. We'll be here to break them all down.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow on UCSS for G. Bush. One thing, Earl? Shoot.
Chris Shula and Jeff Hafley was the 2 names that was presented to me yesterday. Both of them are from the Sean McVay tree. Both of them are defensive guys. One of them is the DC in Green Bay right now. The other is the DC with the Rams. And I only brought that up because you talk about going to the school of McVay or whatever the case may be. And that's how you learn how to build culture, right? And so, the question was posed, is there a coach that can come in here that can possibly keep both of the current coordinators? Maybe a young guy like one of those 2 who might be on their first stint as a coach. So just something for the fans to ponder and start looking into. But 2 names for you: Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, and then Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Check those guys out.
All right, that's it. G. Bush, Earl the Pearl. We'll see you tomorrow on UCSS at 11 a.m. Until then, go Cavs. Peace.
Peace.